The loneliness is not what you expected. You expected loneliness to feel like abandonment, like being left behind, like falling short of where the people around you had arrived. But this loneliness moves in the opposite direction. You are the one who has moved. The people you love are where they were, in the life you both shared, and you are somewhere else. Not far, not hostile, but genuinely somewhere they have not been yet. If that description is more accurate than anything you've been able to say about this, hit like. Here's what the loneliness of evolving faster actually is, beneath the guilt that usually accompanies it. Beneath the impulse to slow down or go back or pretend the gap isn't there, and why understanding its actual structure changes how you carry it. Two objects starting from the same point and moving in the same general direction but at different speeds will produce a gap that grows over time, not because either changed direction, not because either made a wrong turn, simply because the velocities are different. And the gap, the distance between them at any given moment, is not the result of conflict or failure or anyone being abandoned. It is the result of arithmetic, speed multiplied by time, a mathematical consequence of a difference that began before either object could have chosen it. You and the people you love started at similar points. You share origins, same neighborhoods, same formative experiences, same early social world. You were moving at approximately the same pace for a significant period of time. And then, at some point, the velocities diverged, not through any decision either party made consciously, not through anyone being superior or inferior, through the same uncontrollable arithmetic that separates any two objects moving at different speeds from the same origin. The gap is the mathematics of the difference. What makes this loneliness specific? Different from the loneliness of being isolated. Different from the loneliness of not fitting in is that it is not accompanied by conflict. The people you have outpaced are not your enemies. They are not wrong. They have not failed. They are exactly where their particular velocity has brought them, moving at their particular speed in their particular direction. And you are where yours has brought you. And the gap between those two positions is simply the result of time and different rates of movement. Nothing more, nothing less, and nothing personal. There's an old observation, often credited to Nietzsche, though its real origin predates him, that the higher we climb, the smaller we appear to those who cannot follow, not as arrogance, as a description of the physics of altitude. When you are higher, the people below do not see you at full size. Not because you have diminished, because the distance changes the perception, and from their position, you may appear to have moved away. From your position, you can see that you have not, you have simply moved forward. The gap is not a rejection. It is the altitude. Most people experiencing this loneliness try to manage it in one of two ways. They slow themselves down to maintain proximity at the cost of their own development, or they accelerate their exit from the relationships, severing what could have been maintained at a greater distance. Both of these responses misunderstand the structure of the gap. The gap is not a problem requiring a solution. It is the mathematics of different velocities, and mathematics does not require resolution. It requires understanding, and this is the mathematics of the gap. There are specific ways the velocity gap shows up in daily life, the precise daily experiences that reveal the arithmetic of different development speeds. If you recognize any of these, they are not signs of superiority or coldness. They are the observable consequences of the gap. The first is conversations with old friends, feeling like visiting a place you used to live. The familiarity is real. The landmarks are still there. The shared language still operates. The warmth is genuine. But you are no longer a resident. You are a visitor with deep personal history in the location. You know where everything is. You remember what it meant to live here, but the daily reality of the place, the texture of the life that currently unfolds within it, is no longer yours. You can visit. You cannot fully inhabit, and the visits, however warm, carry the specific quality of a guest rather than a resident. This is not a loss of love. It is the observational position of someone who has moved on geographically while remaining emotionally present. The second is finding yourself simplifying what you say around certain people, not from condescension, but because the full version requires a shared context that no longer exists. You have a thought that, in full form, references things you have learned, seen, and understood since the gap began to widen. In full form it would require the other person to be in approximately the position you are currently in to receive it meaningfully. And they are not in that position. So you translate, you find the portion of the thought that exists in the shared vocabulary, express that, and keep the rest. Not because they are incapable of understanding, because the context has diverged. The simplification is a practical response to the arithmetic, not a verdict on anyone's intelligence. The third is the specific loneliness of having an insight or experience that you know no one in your current life would fully understand, and having no one to share it with at the level it exists in. The insight arrives, it is real and precise and significant, and you look around your current social world and there is no one who is in the position to receive it at its full depth. Not because they are not people of depth, because the specific depth from which this insight came is not yet a depth they have reached. The insight exists in you without an adequate audience. This is a loneliness that has no clear social solution. It can only be held. The fourth is caring about the people who haven't kept pace with the same depth you always did, but experiencing the care from across a distance you cannot close. The love is intact. The concern for their well-being is intact. The warmth when you see them is intact. But the full meeting, the contact at the level where both people are genuinely in the same territory, is no longer available in the same way. You can be with them. You cannot be fully met by them. And the care continues from the distance that the gap has created, with no way to eliminate the gap without eliminating the growth that produced it. But here is what no one tells you about what comes next. Here is what the velocity gap does not eliminate even as it grows. The love. The specific, particular, irreducible love for the people you started alongside who are no longer at the same position. The love is not proportional to proximity. It does not diminish at the same rate as the shared context. It persists, in many cases, with a tenderness that the proximity itself might never have generated, because the distance creates a clarity about what was genuinely valuable in the connection. Stripped of the friction and familiarity that proximity produces, there is a specific tenderness that belongs to this position. The tenderness of watching someone you love from a distance, wishing they could see what you see from here, unable to bring them here without their own velocity carrying them, unable to go back without abandoning your own. The tenderness is not condescension. It is love in the form available from the altitude, real, specific, and different from the love that is available from proximity. Nietzsche understood the solitude of this position not as triumph, but as weight. His higher man was not comfortable or self-congratulatory about the altitude. The altitude was the condition that development produced, not a goal pursued, but a consequence arrived at. And the loneliness was not the sign of success. It was the price of it. The honest acknowledgement that genuine development produces genuine distance, and that the distance does not make the people behind any less real or any less loved. It simply makes contact of certain kinds impossible. Here is something to do right now. Think of one specific person you love who has not kept pace with you, not because they failed, but because your velocities diverged. Just hold them in mind for 60 seconds, not with the impulse to close the gap or change anything, simply with the love that still exists across the distance. That love is real. It is not diminished by the gap, and it does not require proximity to be genuine. The gap is mathematics. The love is not mathematics. The love exceeds the arithmetic of velocity. It persists across distances that the arithmetic says should have eliminated it. That persistence is the most honest thing about it. This is when everything begins to shift. You came into this video further along than you wanted to be. Not further along in any sense that carries pride. Further along in the specific, costly sense of having moved at a speed that created a gap you did not choose and do not know how to close. The loneliness is real. The love is also real. And the difficulty of holding both of those things simultaneously without resolving the tension into either numbness or guilt is what makes this particular loneliness one of the hardest to name and the easiest to carry in silence. But here's what the velocity gap does not mean. And what the loneliness has perhaps been telling you it does not mean you are finished with the people behind you. It does not mean you must choose between your own development and the relationships that formed before it. It does not mean the love is over, or that the connection is permanent, severed, or that the people you have outpaced are less valuable because they are at a different position on the same trajectory. It means the form of the connection has changed. The visits are still available, the warmth is still available. The love, in the form it can take across the distance, is still available. What is no longer available is the specific kind of contact that requires both people to be in the same territory. The full meeting, the shared reference, the mutual recognition of the exact landscape you are both currently in. That form of the connection belongs to a proximity that the arithmetic has altered. What exists on your side of the gap that did not exist before? The specific, austere company of your own development. The people who are ahead of you in other domains, at other altitudes, in other directions, who you have not yet found. The connections that will form between people who are in approximately the same position, moving at approximately the same speed, in approximately the same direction. Those connections do not replace the ones behind you. They exist alongside them at a different distance, with a different quality of contact. The loneliness of evolving faster is not permanent. It is the transition between the connections of your previous velocity and the connections your current velocity is moving toward. The gap is the mathematics, the love persists through it, and the new connections are already forming at the altitude you have reached. If this named the loneliness you have been carrying without knowing what to call it, write in the comments, "I love them from the gap." Let's see how many of us are holding this exact distance right now. If Noctivus is new to you, subscribe. Every video here is for the person moving at a speed the people around them haven't reached yet. The next one goes deeper into what forms at the altitude you've arrived at. Keep moving.